What's good, everyone? Alex Trataros here with another Jets episode of the Knicks, Jets, etc. podcast. And with me is always my buddy, my close pal, the man with the plan, the one and only John Meleka. But before we ask John how he's doing today, we all need your help, all right? If you listen to this podcast and you're not subscribed already, please make sure to do so. We're on Apple, Spotify, Google Play, Amazon, Alexa, Stitcher, you name it. We are there. If you listen to us on Apple or Spotify, please make sure to give us a 5-star rating. And if you listen to us on Apple Podcast, make sure to leave a comment. We'll read it out loud, and it helps us out. We appreciate it oh so greatly. We're also on YouTube now, so make sure to type in Knicks, Jets, ETC, period. No one writes etc. out. That's just wild. Make sure to find the page, subscribe, hit that notification bell. That way you know when a new episode drops. And if you watch a video, just make sure, hit the like button. Leave a comment. It's just the polite thing to do. We like to talk to you guys. We'll interact. Don't say anything too reckless, okay? We see that John's getting hate for his KD love. It's all good. It's the love of basketball, man. It's the love of basketball. No stress. No stress out here.
Dude,
while you're over there,
if you can't appreciate KD coming back and doing what he's doing off an Achilles and another injury on top of that, you're crazy.
Word, man. Word. And also asking for an injury. Come on, man. Stop wishing. People gotta stop wishing injuries upon people. That's just reckless.
You guys are crazy.
No one should be doing that type of stuff. But while we're at it, while you're over at that page, if you're not commenting and liking, like I said, you should be doing. We have another podcast called Winning Picks Weekly. John, video producer Greg go down usually the NFL slate. Sometimes we do NBA games, but don't worry.
March
Madness, baby. March Madness.
It's out, baby. It's out.
It's coming. It's
out. The episode is out. It was an unbelievable episode. Me and obviously video producer Greg, the regulars. But I think, Chip, he really impressed us out here. We had a phenomenal episode. We did the 4 brackets. We went through them all. It's a long episode. We're going to break it up so you could skip through. Obviously easier on the YouTube if you check us out there. Obviously subscribe and like and comment. Tell us about your brackets here. I know that Knicks, Jets, etc. We're going to set up our own bracket. Have some Knicks and some Jets fans in there too. Everybody loves a little March Madness, so get into there. It was really cool, Alex. I know this is the Jets episode, but really quick on the March Madness stuff. We went through it without listening to anybody because nothing had come out yet. We recorded on Monday night, and no media stuff was out yet. And listening to everything today, I mean, I feel good about our stuff. I feel good about the entire episode in general. Besides, I did a couple of reckless things. Chip did a couple of reckless things.
You all do some reckless things. That's gambling in general. You got to take that risk, man.
I got like a 16-1 just for fun. Chip is all over Chattanooga. Colgate. There's some things happening. So definitely tune in. Definitely tune into the episode, man. It's a really good one.
You heard that. Make sure to tune in. If you don't know Chip Murphy already, you should know Chip. Shout out to Chip. He's a writer over at KnicksFanTV.com. With me, he's also a host of the Knicks State of Mind podcast through ESNY. All right, and he's also got the Couch Critic. So if you don't follow Chip Murphy, if you haven't been following him on Twitter, doing his college bets, come on, man. I said on one episode, man, bets on Manhattan College and wins. Come on, guys, out here betting in the MAC. This is ridiculous. So make sure to go check out that episode.
Talk a lot about the MAC. He's definitely going to lose today, though. He took Woody, man, -4 Indiana. That's going to be an L. But tune in. You'll hear all about it.
Make sure to go check it out. And as this long intro has been going through, last but certainly not least, please make sure to follow us on all social media platforms. We're on Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, TikTok, you name it. We are there. But now let's get into the meat and bones of this. John, Mr. Meleka.
What's up, man?
How you feeling, bro? You must be living high today. You must be on cloud 9.
I mean, I feel like I'm on cloud 9 because I feel like I haven't slept in a long time between work and the Jets and the Knicks and just
writing an article.
Well, just man, there's so much going on around the NFL. I mean, March Madness is here, and I feel like it's taking secondary, but it's about to just become the priority. I'm a mess right now. But I'm really happy because of what the Jets are doing, dude. It all started out with gloom and doom as usual, dude. I'm just trying to enjoy my Sunday, trying to enjoy Selection Sunday. We're recording, our Knicks episode, and Tom Brady, dude. Tom Brady comes in here.
He can't even let college have its own day. He can't even let think about that. Think about how selfish of a man he is. He can't even let college students have a day for Selection Sunday. He could have waited until Monday. Could have waited.
You heard it here
but no,
first. You heard it here first. Tom Brady hates children.
he does. And you know what? That's probably why. That's probably why he came out of retirement. He was home with his kids. He was like, "Oh man, this sucks." Allegedly. Some people like to do.
but yeah. So he did come back. It was before Monday for a reason, dude. About 15 hours before the beginning of legal tampering season, Tom Brady comes back, and you asked me, why does it affect us? Right? We're in the AFC. Who cares? Get over it, right? Ryan Jensen, the center, the one that we were rumored for, obviously he's going to stay back at Tampa. And that was the first signing after Tom Brady came back. And it kind of just ruined all our plans. You know what I mean? We're about to get an all-pro center, for basically for a wash on our cap. We were ready to go here, revamp the O-line. So, dude, that one hurt me. That one hurt me. It was I was not feeling good, but the best thing about this Jets team, man, and I can't believe I'm saying it, they are so consistent, and they're consistent in a good way.
You know what I'm saying? To say you better qualify, because they've been consistent, all right. They've been consistent regardless of who the GM and who the coach has been. They've been consistently losing and consistently a mess. But now this is consistently actually some structure, like actually good structure to the team.
Yeah, of course. Like we had Idzik, who was consistently not spending any money. We had McCagnon, who was consistently spending terribly, like a madman, and
in all the wrong places.
Yeah, exactly. And now we have Joe Douglas, who we are able to predict his moves because they're so valuable. But I'm gonna tell you one thing we can't predict, man. We can't predict how valuable the value he gets out of these contracts, how he is signing these deals. Like nobody could guess them. And every single time a contract comes out from Joe Douglas, everybody is at the very least impressed by the number. You know what I mean? You don't have to be super impressed by the player, but it's definitely logical. There's nothing that's illogical. There's nothing that's out of the ordinary. And every single time, the first thing is, well, at least it's good value.
Yeah, for sure. And the thing is, like, honestly, like it's been about the value the first 2 seasons with him fully being the GM, because as we should all remember, he came in halfway after McCagnon was fired, thanks to a certain Adam Gase, who I can't even believe I'm spitting that name out. But remember, he came in halfway. So that first draft with Mekhi Becton, right? His first signing was Ryan Griffin. But even so, you look at all these signings, they're all good numbers. But I'm going to say this right now, and it's all good on paper. I said this on Twitter. This all looks good on paper, but this has to be, like, from a paper standpoint, his best free agency by far. Has to be.
Yeah, man. And the best part is he just doing exactly what he said he was going to do. So he came out during the combine and said he's going to improve the team and not just acquire talent. Like that was the quote, which I thought was pretty interesting, right? We are sitting here with the 5th most in cap space, and we have the most draft value since 1999 for any team. Like I thought that was really interesting. Based on the Warren Sharp numbers. You could check that all out in my the latest Jet Press article, where I did a review of day 1 and a preview of day 2.
And you called Whitehead coming.
Yeah, we'll get to all that. We'll get to all that. But I thought it was really interesting, dude, because think about it. You have all these assets. You have the highest draft pick value in 2 decades. You have the 5th most cap space. You have a quarterback already. Like, you could spend, man. You know what I mean? Like, you could spend here, and nobody would really fault you too much, because at the end of the day, you're going to be judged on this offseason because it's your 3rd one. So this is going to be this is really make or break for him. So he could have just spent a lot of money. Like, if he has nothing to lose.
We've been saying this too from the end of last season, that this offseason is the most critical offseason for Joe Douglas. He has to spend, he has to work through free agency, because the first 2 years it was, he really made like around the edges type moves, as we saw with the New York Knicks, right? It's nothing like too substantial. Okay, you get a good value piece here, like in George Font. Ryan Griffin, not so much, but okay, you're doing something. Boy. You brought in, all the linemen that just sucked, like GVR. Like, come on, like these are not guys that you want. But hey, he had to do it because what we saw 2 years ago with Alex Lewis and so forth. That's not something that you need to see out there on the field. But we kept saying this has got to be the offseason because he can't come back with a losing record as he's had the last 2 seasons. And so far, like I said, it's only on paper, but these are signings we can get behind. These are actually good, not only good contract, but talent wise, you're like, all right, like this is some talent in the building now.
Yeah. So we're not only do we have talent, but we're also adding depth. And it started out with re-signing some of our own guys like LaMarcus Joyner, Will Parks, and Elijah Riley out in the safeties. We mentioned Connor McDermott, our backup offensive lineman / tight end, because of that catch, which he was really talked highly about after that. The coaches, like, he was joking around about trying to get the ball all week in practice. So he seems like a fun locker room guy. But we learned one thing, dude. Joe Douglas is not going to break the bank. And as much as we were worried about it, he's not going to set the market for any position, for any player. And
second year in a row, we're saying this. He's not going to set the market.
He's not going to set the market. And, dude, I'm not going to lie. I was a little worried because, I mean, who would have guessed that the New England Patriots with Bill Belichick last year were going to do stupid things like that? You know what I mean? Now they're paying $15 million for Aguilar and like something close to that for Jonnu Smith, and they both stink. So and it's on the cap.
And they got Hunter Henry too, so don't worry.
Hunter Henry's good. At least that's a fine. It by itself, that's fine. The other 2 signings are just so bad.
But it's not just him, like Hunter Henry itself. Sure, you could say Hunter Henry's fine, but it's always about the aggregate, like what you did together collectively. You look at all of that collectively, like how are you spending all this? Like you could have just been set with Hunter Henry and not have to do Jonnu Smith. But this is a Jets podcast, not a Patriots podcast. I'm just critiquing the other team because I hate them.
No, I'm saying that I was worried about it. If Bill Belichick is susceptible to that, I was worried, right? So we signed our fullback Nick Bowden too, and our first move with the quote unquote guru of the offensive lineman was to bring in Laken Tomlinson. I was super shocked by this signing. Number one, because he's a left guard. And number two, because the contract, dude, $27 million guaranteed for 3 years, $9 million. Both of those things made no sense to me. I was just like, when I saw the left, I was like, first of all, he's a left guard. It makes no sense. We have Elijah Vera Tucker there. Mm-hmm. And then I was like, how on earth do we get him for $9 million for 3 years in a row? Like that's crazy to me. I thought he was going to be worth, maybe get like not sheriff numbers because obviously he was going to get paid more, but he was injury prone. So I was a little worried about that. And he got paid significantly less than Brandon Scherff, the right guard from Washington. But I was so shocked, man. An all-pro coming from a team that's good, right? San Francisco's good, like a legit contender, going to the New York Jets, switching positions, taking a pay cut. What's going on, bro? How crazy was the Laken Tomlinson pickup? Like what was your reaction to that? It was 2 hours in, everyone's freaking out, obviously, from 12 to 2. Oh my God, Joe Douglas not doing anything. And then the first signing is super surprising, man.
We're getting the sleeping Joe Douglas memes flying around everywhere. I know. I was taken aback when I saw that we got Laken Tomlinson because, as you said, he's a left guard coming from a championship contender, right? Like the 49ers are not that far removed from being in the Super Bowl, and they weren't that far off from making it to the Super Bowl again, right? Mm-hmm. Like we're talking about, they were just in the NFC Championship going against the LA Rams. So for him to leave that team to come to the New York Jets, I think it says a few things. I think one, if you look at the New York Jets, there has to be some belief that the Jets are building something. You have to like the coaching staff, and obviously he's familiar with the coaching staff. LaFleur, right? So LaFleur has already worked with him. He knows the schematic of his system. Yeah. So
John Benton, Coach Saleh, all of them.
He also knows Robert Saleh from being on part of that team too. So you have to have a relationship there as well, which makes it an easy transition for him too. You look at the team, maybe young, up and coming. Maybe he sees something in Zach Wilson, the offense in general, sees some talent, saying, "Hey, you know what?"
He knows the offensive line coach too, bro.
Yeah, no, that's what I'm saying. Like that's all the relationships. You got to look at the team, seeing what's coming up. And I think if you look at San Francisco, because if you look at it from a business standpoint, right, you just had Jimmy Garoppolo play. And you know what Jimmy Garoppolo is as a quarterback. He's an average quarterback. He's slightly above average on a good day, but he's not going to get you to the he has gotten to the promised land, but he probably won't win it all because of his inconsistencies and the fact that they like to run the ball more and they don't really rely on Jimmy Garoppolo to push it down the field. And you're not going to be able to win a Super Bowl just by running the damn ball. This isn't the Joe Namath Jets that we're talking about back in 1969 when you could just hand the ball off and throw the ball like 3-4 times and call it a day. This ain't that team. I should say this ain't that era. But anyway, you see Garoppolo, you see Trey Lance. Maybe he doesn't believe in Trey Lance. Maybe he doesn't believe in the coaching staff to get Trey Lance up there because that's the successor. So for him, it's like, all right, they're probably going to move off of this guy, Garoppolo, anyway, and go to a second-year quarterback who hasn't gotten that much experience. I have the New York Jets over here asking for the same thing from me, essentially, with a guy who's already played last season, could take that next step this season. I know the guy's over here, so it's not that big of a jump. So I think that, if you think of it from that perspective, it makes sense why he did it. It's still out of left field for me. I was not expecting to get a left guard to be changing to right guard now. And crazy. I was thinking that we're going to address the issue through the draft, in all honesty. And that's what we were talking about for the previous weeks. Like, okay, we're going to think about going O-lineman. We're talking about Neil. We're talking about all these guys. All right, maybe we'll go in one of those directions, But no, this just came out of left field. What are your thoughts, though?
Well, honestly, man, I'm so glad the way that Joe Douglas positioned himself because, we're about to, round it all out here. But the conclusion of the story is we were able to fill every single hole in free agency without overspending to the point where we are not going to be desperate drafting at any single position during the draft. So it's not going to be like, oh my God, we need a right guard. It doesn't matter who's left. Like we just need one. You know what I mean? Even if like the first 3 picks of the draft are O-linemen, like we're not drafting Hutchinson because we would need an O-lineman. Like that kind of desperation. Obviously, that's not the case. But the point is, that's why I'm really excited about how he approached it because now, because Maccagnan tried to, address it all in free agency and Idzik tried to address it all in the draft. And finally, Joe Douglas is addressing it all, it looks like, with both. And I know it sounds so simple.
There's definitely a blend.
It sounds so simple, but it's magical.
It sounds simple, but the thing is, like, it's like everything sounds simple, right? But the way he is actually executing it pretty well. And this is where when people is calling for Joe Douglas's head, it's like, guys, let's be patient. Like, we're starting a rebuild. It's like we're seeing losing. It's like, this is a rebuild. It takes time. We're talking about a 53-man roster. Okay. We're talking about a 53-man roster. This isn't the NBA 2 rounds. You could change everything with just one great player. It doesn't work like that. You can have a great quarterback and still be shit. Just look at the Houston Texans. That just is how it is in the NFL. So you got to be patient and it takes time to get all the positions that you need filled. So this is what he's doing. And I'm not saying like I was expecting it, but you say it sounds so easy, but to see it all come together now, like I said, it's still on paper, but to see it all coming together, it's looking pretty good.
It's amazing. It really is. And, I was really worried about this whole switching from left to right guard thing. We had Duke Mayweather, the offensive line, trainer.
Guru. He's a guru.
Offensive line guru. He kind of tweeted his disdain with, the Jets being even linked to Tomlinson, because he doesn't understand why teams sign players and move them around. On the other hand, we have Damian Woody, a Super Bowl champion, offensive lineman, played every position on the offensive line. He was gracious enough for the last couple of days, like up until like 1 a.m. I was listening to him in the spaces. Leger Duzable, shout out to him. Connor Hughes, Connor Rogers, DJ, even Will Parkinson's in there. A couple of guests that we've had on the show. Everybody's in there talking, and Damian Woody, I mean, I must have heard him say it 150 times because everyone's asking the same question, at different times.
Mm-hmm.
Because he is so familiar with the playbook and because he's familiar with all of the coaches like Saleh and LaFleur and Benton, all he really has to do all year is work on the mechanics of moving from left guard to right guard. And he wouldn't have signed if he wasn't down. This was never a competition of are you going to play for Elijah Vera Tucker? That's not that's not even a question mark. So he knew what he was getting into. And Damian Woody said, yeah, it's tough, but if that's your goal, he's like, it happens especially to players, as they get older. He's like, it happened to him as his career got older. You just have to start being versatile. We know that Joe Douglas likes the versatile players, and this is why. If Damian Woody has confidence, if Tomlinson has confidence, and if the three coaches that know him have confidence, then I am also ecstatic. And it's crazy to think, Alex, that with one move and the first move and a really good deal, they fixed the entire offensive line. Like whether you have, as it stands, Font or Becton on either side, match with Vera Tucker and McGovern, and now we have Tomlinson. That's a stellar offensive line. Absolutely stellar.
It's a good offensive line. It's much better. It's much better than what we had it was competent last season.
We're above average now.
Huh?
We're above average now.
Oh yeah. We are above average. We are above average.
Which is crazy to think, just with one move. And it's a long time coming. It was a step-by-step process, but I don't think that's going to really if the guard / tackle from NC State is there, Ikwanu, if he's there at 4, I think we're still going to draft him. So we'll get to that later, and then probably trade Becton. I think that's how that would go. But that's neither here nor there. We'll get to that at a different time.
I love how you just drop like massive, colossal like thoughts that just explode. Like everyone's brain just exploded right now. But you're like, yeah, we'll discuss that later. Everyone's like, what we got to discuss that now.
We can discuss it. I just didn't want to hone in on it because this is a free agency episode. But I think that this solidified an offensive line, but it doesn't deter us from getting an offensive lineman that they love. And Ikwanu, every time I hear anybody close to the team talk about the Jets' interest, they say they are in love with him. Like they don't just like him, like they love Ikwanu. If he's there, there's 100% chance they're taking him. Like nobody could fathom that. Now that we got Tomlinson, people are kind of weary about it. But if they love a player like that and he drops to them, in my opinion, they're going to take him and figure it out later. And then if they could move Becton for a draft pick on draft day, you know what I'm saying? I think that'd be nice. That'd be a nice possibility.
Okay. I mean, are you saying that they're out on Becton? Are you saying that they're out on Becton?
No. I'm saying it's for a draft pick or they can keep him and then not re-sign Font, right? He's on a 1-year deal and just kind of like keep Ikwanu just like to chill for a year. If anyone's injured, just hang out for 1 year and then just plug in. You can do that. There's plenty of moves. I'm just saying, the point I was making is I wouldn't.
The second one sounds like more sense to keep. You'd probably want a younger offensive line, and Font is, he's good. I'm not saying he's
I don't know, dude. I don't know. Font is really good, and he is reliable, and he's a veteran. And we know that 77 isn't that yet. He's not reliable. He's not a reliable veteran. That's all.
It's tough, man. After all the praise he got his first year for being like
I'm on him. Like I'm still good with Becton being our starting left or right tackle. Like, and he could be a beast. I have no problem with that.
Okay, this is going to be discussed in detail.
Yeah, exactly.
On another episode. Exactly. That's just crazy that you brought something up that's legit, like a nuke that you just bombed. Like you just bombed people's brains with this.
I don't think it's as crazy as people think. And there's I guess I'll just, because it's on my mind, there's a perception difference between the fans and the front office sometimes. And I'll admit, I'm one of these people that thinks that we need a linebacker so bad. And, Connor Hughes, who's plugged into the Jets front office, tweeted out, the Jets are happy with Quincy Williams and CJ Mosley, and they're okay with, kind of just like plugging someone in at the end there. It's not really another big priority for them.
I'm telling you, man. Like sometimes the perception is different. I was telling you about Quincy Williams. You were like, well, we really go wrong. I'm like, yo, Quincy Williams balled out, man, for a guy was off the street.
Yeah, he just had a lot of whiffs. What I was told when I was asking Leger about that. He was saying it's more about the interior D line. But it probably looked to you like it was a linebacker's fault, not catching angles and stuff. But he's like, it was mostly the D line and the secondary being so bad. So apparently the Jets front office, sometimes it's not exactly what the pulse of the fans. That's just the point I was trying to make there. Whether it's with Becton because we're in love with him, and now we want to cut him. I don't think the Jets are on either of those spectrum. And same thing with what I thought was a desperation at linebacker. But still, we'll talk about some linebacker stuff when it comes to the draft. But as I said, man, really interesting. The Jets they're going with this philosophy that they did with the last draft of all offense in the beginning, and then they're going to do the defense. So day one was all offense. The next step was another glaring hole. A guy that we had brought up in our last Jets episode. You kind of poo-pooed at him. But dude, the CJ Uzomah from the AFC champion Cincinnati Bengals. I can't believe this one, dude.
Oh man,
how do we poach him from the Cincinnati Bengals?
That's a good question.
24 million.
I mean, the price tag is honestly like the most impressive part about it and the fact that he was just in the Super Bowl.
Uzomah, by the way. Sorry.
Yeah, Uzomah. CJ Uzomah. Yeah. Impressive signing. I'm honestly not really high on it, to be quite frank. I think it's a good signing. I'm not really high. I'm not high on CJ because he's been known to be injury prone. So I'm not high on it. But the thing with CJ that when I hear the rationale is the same one I have for Kyle Rudolph, right? Except you're just getting a younger guy than Kyle Rudolph, who's a good veteran presence. You hear how good he was in the locker room with the Bengals, how it helped just keep like that nucleus together. Really just got on that Super Bowl effort that they had, right? Just every game they're going in, competing day in and day out. And when CJ's on the field, he's a quality tight end, but the issue is that he's not always on the field. But I like the idea of the signing. If you have him on the field, you have a quality tight end one. He's not going to be a Jimmy Graham of old or any one of those guys, any one of those type tight ends in their prime. But I think he's a solid tight end. Just to give you some good blocking, he's a decent pass catcher. You get some veteran presence, but I think more so than anything else, he is going to be the role model for the tight end that they draft on day 2 or day 3.
Okay. Well, let me tell you this, man. He's coming off a career year, almost 50 receptions, almost 500 yards, and 300 of those yards being yards after the catch.
Yeah, that's the impressive part. Yeah, that's the impressive part.
Our friend Michael Nania tweeted out that the yards after catch over expected, a little advanced stat for you, was almost 90 yards. Like that's huge impressive percentages, man. He only had 500, and then he also threw in 5 touchdowns there. Do you know how many touchdowns the Jets have given up to tight ends in the last 2 years?
Too many to count.
22 on over 1,100 yards both the years. I can't wait to be able to actually throw to our tight end. I'm really excited about that. I'm really excited about.
How dare you talk about Kenny Yeboah is not a good tight end?
I'm hyped about Yeboah. Don't you dare put words in my mouth for slander about Kenny Yeboah.
Don't you dare put words about. You were doing it all last week with Emmanuel Sanders. Okay, I don't want to hear nonsense from you. All right, call me you're an ageist out here, but yet I'm the guy who's like, oh, in love with all these over the hill guys. Created the 2011. The 2011 All-Star Sanders.
You just want to sign Emmanuel Sanders, bro. I don't know what to tell you.
I did not want to sign Emmanuel Sanders. I just said he was a good player.
So I speaking of Yeboah and CJ, you're looking for them to mentor a rookie tight end. I agree. I think a day 2 or day 3 tight end is coming. I have some names in my head. We'll get to that later. Kid from UCLA, kid from Wisconsin, Ohio State. There's a couple nice guys out here. But I think that the Jets aren't done with getting another veteran tight end. I still think Hayden Hurst, like these guys that I was pointing out from last episode, I'm still on them. CJ, Hayden Hurst, a rookie, and Yeboah. I think that's a solid tight end room. And then throw on Nick Bowden on there. That's not bad. As much as I love Pat Ricard, of course we're not going to break the market for a fullback tight end. He wants $6 million. He wants more money than Berrios. Obviously, we're not going to get him. So I think we're going to round out the tight end with another veteran here. Really quick, I just kind of want to know. Jets fans had a lot of issues with JC Jackson, who got a payday and we weren't quote unquote players for. We had the BJ Hill stuff. We had the defensive tackle who went to Russell Wilson. There's a lot of players here with the Amari Cooper stuff, right? There's a lot of players here where we got killed for not signing, for not breaking the bank for. Look at the difference, man. Look at the difference between, a $20 million upfront 1 year deal with Amari Cooper and then, $20 million spread right here between a starting right guard and a starting tight end. You know what I'm trying to say? I just kind of get that perspective on it.
It's crazy to see. I can't get behind that. We've done this. I don't even know Jets fans who are angry about that. I don't know how we can be upset about that when we've watched McCagnon do this and then just blow up in our faces. Do you guys not remember? I don't even want to bring up his name. What's his name? Cornerback. He is so out of my mind.
Jermaine Johnson.
Oh, thank you. He's in like the dark files.
That's so like that's like the number one thought process I go to. I know, me too.
That's the number one I think of. So when you see, JC Jackson getting 5 years, 85 or 82.5 million, I should say. Like, why is that? Why are you upset about that? To get a number one corner and then not have enough money to go fill out the entire roster. It's a team sport. He's not going to win it all. He's not playing the other positions. This is where I think, and we've done this so many times. I'm just so tired of it. We even had this under Tannenbaum too. We just spend cash and get big guys in here, outside of the 2 Rex Ryan years, like we've done that. We've been there. We've done that.
Yeah.
Don't need to do it.
Yeah. And speaking of been there, done that, also re-signed Tevin Coleman. The details aren't there, but it's a 1 year deal.
I hate it. Move. I was off Tevin Coleman too. Remember
you're off all these guys. I know. But I think they're good deals, man. That's why I'm interested.
The Tevin Coleman one. I think the thing with Tevin Coleman is that as the season progressed, I saw how he still had some legs left and he was able to keep going up the middle, which I can appreciate that. If you can do what he did last season and be interchangeable with Michael Carter, that's good right there. We just need another running back, though. I feel like we just need another running back because Tevin Coleman, you can't rely on Tevin Coleman to make it throughout the entire year. I think Michael Carter can. I think he just got hit with some unlucky injuries. I think he can play a full season, but I think we just need one more to solidify that running back group. I don't know if they're going to draft the running back and go later round or if they want to go through free agency.
Yeah, I'm hoping for a running back in the draft. But we'll see.
That's what I'm thinking too. I think a draft is probably better than trying to get another veteran in there because then you're probably competing with Tevin Coleman, who you want in there anyway, and start grooming another running back.
Yeah, I agree. But we saved the best for last on the offensive side of the ball here. We brought back my main man, the Braxton Berrios, baby. He's back. I was ecstatic that we brought him back. I can't believe the deal. Alex's eyebrows are going crazy right now. That's how excited he is. The team friendly deal on Braxton Berrios to come back on a hometown discount. Unbelievable.
It's insane because there was the reports of he wants 8 to 12, and I'm over here he's not getting that. He did take a discount, sure, but there's something to be said when you're Braxton Berrios, you've worked so hard to get off a practice squad to be successful with a team. And it's in that it legitimately is in that same realm as Danny Woodhead, where he stayed with the Patriots too for as long as he could before going out to the Chargers. There's a sense of loyalty and a sense of not fear, but just familiarity with the system and what you succeeded in. And there's a reason to go back towards that to continue your success instead of just taking that 1 year, good year, going to another team. And then if you burn out because you don't fit their system, you're up shit's creek because then you have to work twice as hard again to go get back there. So I feel like that's why there was like that sense in my mind that he was going to come back anyway. So I like the move. I think he's going to be good. As of right now, because there's no Jamison Crowder, he's a slot. He's technically the starting slot.
Yeah, that's true. Because
technically he's a starting slot.
Yeah, you got to put Elijah Moore on the outside. You're right. You're right, dude. I'm so happy with Berrios' deal. He got $7 million fully guaranteed, but it looks like more on paper. It's like it's a kind of backloaded onto the second year. Team friendly on the cap this year. A little bit more next year, dude. I am so excited about Braxton Berrios, all pro kick returner, punt returner, coming back. Our fourth down king, runs the ball. He's honestly our Deebo Samuel. Like,
he can do everything.
It's so funny. Deebo Samuel was upset about losing Tomlinson, which got me a little excited. So that's how day one ended. All offense, plugged in every single hole except for wide receiver. Okay.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, unless you're gonna count Berrios, right? Like we're talking about like the outside wide receiver. Okay.
Yeah, I think that
plug in that
the wide receiver issue, because that's going to be interesting because you have Allen Robinson, who's reported to go to the Browns.
I mean, we're just not signing him.
Yeah, no, we're not going to do that. But I just want to say,
is there anybody on your mind though?
I'm sorry.
No, go ahead. Talk about Allen Robinson. But also, do you have any other wide receivers on your mind for free agency?
Let me talk about Allen Robinson first, and then let me get on the other wide receivers. But the Allen Robinson thing, I find it funny that he wants to go to a place where OBJ, Jarvis Landry, insert any other wide receiver that's there, has underperformed and hasn't succeeded. But yet you want to go there and think you can get something to go with Baker Mayfield. You could say that it's too many chefs in the kitchen, and that's why the wide receiver group there didn't pan out. But I think it's a larger issue than than those too many chefs in the kitchen. And sure, you have a good head coach who's good offensively, very creative offensively, but the quarterback situation in Baker Mayfield, it's not one where I'm necessarily too convinced on. There were times where I would think Baker was that guy, but this last season, man, you want to talk about a guy who's inconsistent. That's a guy who's inconsistent. So I don't know. It's just weird the fact that he would choose that team after sending so many subliminals last season to Jets fans, and now you want to go to out of all the teams, you want to choose the Browns. Like, no shade to the Browns. Like, they were competitive this season. No shade. But the shade that I will throw is that the quarterback and how tough the division is, that's where you want to go. That's where you want to go.
You got to follow the money, man. You got to follow the money, whoever wants to pay him. The interesting names for me on the wide receiver market in general at this point is a 1-year deal for Will Fuller, even though I think he's going to follow.
I knew you were going to say Will Fuller because he's still out there. Yeah. He's injury prone.
Do whatever. Sign him for 1 year. Like, let him run the outside. It's not going to deter you from anything. But I have a feeling he's going to.
Can I say something about Will Fuller? Because before you keep going on, and I knew you were going to bring him up again. If I'm paying a guy, I don't care how long it is. I need you to be out there. Like, I just, if you're trying to compete, and the Jets, they're not in this position where they're competitive. They can take a flyer on a guy who's known to be injury prone. If he goes off, he goes off. Sure, go get Will Fuller. That's not I don't think they're in that position to do that. That's just my thought. He's in his prime, but every year you don't get to play. You don't get a full season out of Will Fuller. That's tough, man. That's a tough sell. There's no way that if I'm a quarterback and you're telling me this guy's gonna be in the starting rotation, I'm not gonna have him. That's a hard sell. Like, sure, he played 14 games, 10 games. and then 7 games, 11 and 11, and now 2. Come on, bro. Like, I just look at that. I just know I'm not getting a full season out of him. I know I'm getting maybe, for the most part, 3/4. 3/4 I'm getting out of him. But that's not good enough, honestly. That's just not.
Yeah, I agree with you. I think it would be like a 4 year, like a
4 years.
1 year, $4 million, like something like that.
But you still want to take a chance on a guy that's not going to be on the field that often?
I mean, it's just 1 year. It's just money on the books this year. I don't think it'd be a big deal, but I could also see us taking somebody like Keelan Cole. I could see Higgins from the Browns, especially if they're looking elsewhere, and especially if they sign Allen Robinson. Higgins is nice, man. I really like him. We'll see how he does in the market. Another guy to keep an eye on that no one has really mentioned is James Washington from the Steelers. He's a beast. Those kinds of players, that's what, if you're a Jets fan, that's what you're looking for, man. You're looking for those types of deals. Very value based, because we're going to definitely draft a wide receiver here. So
if it was me, I think, and there's, I believe I saw reports saying that the Jets really liked Keelan Cole and they really wanted him back. I would expect him to come back. And I actually didn't mind Keelan Cole this season. If you want to talk about a guy on a 1-year deal who played the entire season, that's that guy. So if you bring back Keelan Cole, he's got good speed, good hands. Should have had that touchdown, but against Cincinnati. But, refs don't like us. That's a common theme here in New York.
We never forget.
So, I honestly think Keelan Cole's coming back. I think he's just seeing what he can get out there, but I think he'll be back.
Fair enough. So switching over to the defense, we mentioned it at first with the linebacker stuff. We're linebacker crazed over here, but we're more crazed over is getting some secondary help, man. And that's what the Jets attacked on the second day of legal tampering, the last day. They were able to, number one, not spend on Marcus Williams, right? He got $70 million from 14.5 guaranteed per year from Baltimore Ravens. Lots of money. There's no way. Was it 14.5? No, 17.5. There's no way the Jets are paying that. It's a crazy number. I'm not sure exactly how it's structured. I just know it's $70 million. I'm really glad that we did not sign him for that. Instead, we signed a strong safety in Jordan Whitehead from the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. Really excited about that. He is a hard hitter. He is more of a Jamal Adams type of player. Okay. He is that, get in the box, tackle hard, like that kind of safety. We still are looking for the free safety. We did get LaMarcus Joyner, as we mentioned, Will Parks, and Elijah Ridley, as we mentioned in the beginning of the episode. There's some news about another guy here, man. My man, Mr. March 9th. Mr. Marcus May, dude. There's some rumors about bringing him back for, probably a short-term deal, I'd assume.
Mm-hmm.
What do you think about bringing Marcus May back, dude? To be our free safety, and then that's it. We don't have to hear about Kyle Hamilton anymore. We could just chill out on that front. We got our free safeties. We got our strong safety. Everybody could, breathe. What do you think about that? Bringing our boy back, taking care of him, despite his agent.
Yeah,
what a jerk.
But I'll say this. I wouldn't be opposed to bringing Marcus May back because he is good. I do like Marcus May. I like retaining our own guys. I wouldn't be upset if we let him go too and go Kyle Hamilton either. Because I think he's very talented, and I know Jets fans are taking their AirPods out and throwing it into the river right now. But I honestly wouldn't be too upset with that because the way free agency has unfolded, you look at him and he's a gamer and he's a ball hawk. I don't know how you can pass up on a guy like that too, man, because those are impact type of players that you need on a team. And not saying that we know that the safety is not the primo position. We've been there, done that. But
I don't know. I beg to differ on that. I'm going to push back on that.
Because you had Bill Barnwell. You had Bill Barnwell in the past talk about, and I get that it was for Jamal Adams.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. He's like, look at how much they're getting.
But
paid,
even still,
they're breaking the market. All of them.
I hear you, but even still, Bill Barnwell, if I remember that article correctly, when he was breaking it down, they had safeties in like the fourth tier. Like it was close to the bottom of like how they ranked them.
Mhm.
So that's why every position is important. We're not glossing over that. I get that, but in the fact of like who you pay, how do you want to address the position? I mean, if you're like, that's why I look at Kyle Hamilton. That if you can get an upgrade in that aspect, and a guy who, as much as I hate to say it, doesn't have an Achilles injury, you know, I wouldn't be too opposed to it, especially since he's a gamer like he is.
Yeah, I mean, it's definitely out of the picture if we sign Marcus May, but also at the same time, there might be no rush. I mean, we might be able to wait a month, after the draft till after the draft to sign Marcus May and kind of see if Kyle Hamilton falls to us, see how the draft plays out. There are a couple other safeties, not really that many free safeties, honestly. Like Cena is out. He's a strong safety. I mean, you know what I'm saying? There's a couple of guys that just don't fit anymore. It's not safety, it's free safety and strong safety. And they play different positions,
Yeah.
especially in this defense. So you can't just say, oh, there's other safeties in the draft. Like there aren't that many free safeties,
Well, Marcus May has been a free safety since he's been with the Jets.
No. Yeah. I'm just saying that when it gets as the draft goes down, like, because, there are other players, but they don't play the same position as Kyle Hamilton, honestly. So we'll see how that plays out. To be honest with you, I wouldn't mind signing Marcus May to the 1-year deal and just skipping on Kyle Hamilton and just, worst case scenario, getting the premier safety next year. You know what I mean? We're going to have money. Every safety is going to be off the books except for Whitehead. You know what I mean? We'll see how the draft goes. And if somebody's a free agent, we'll pay him.
I'm not too like you. I'm not, well, I hear the Marcus May route. I'm not heavily like invested either way. I lean a little bit more so towards Hamilton just because he's there. We're probably gonna be in position to get him, and the unknown with Marcus May is just there. That's why I'm leaning towards that direction. But either way, you're not. I don't think you can go wrong, personally.
I just don't think we pass on Iquanu if he's there, and I do think there's like a 2 or 3 pass rushers that the Jets really like, and I don't think any of those name is Tib, but what the hell do I know? So we'll see how that plays out. I'm really excited, once we move past the free agency to see how the draft, quote unquote, rumors go. But what I've learned, man, there's some discrepancies between the beat writers, like especially we're about to get into it, the Stephon Gilmore stuff at cornerback. Everybody was saying that the Jets were on him, including, Connor Hughes, right, who we're taking for gospel at this point. But Rich Cimini said they weren't, and he stuck with that. So, sometimes they have a little bit of discrepancy. We were able to land on DJ Reed, though, the cornerback, who, shout out to DJ, a writer from the Post. Daily News. Sorry, he's our cornerback guru.
He really is.
Yeah, he loves cornerbacks.
I saw a tweet today. Sorry to interrupt you. I saw a tweet today, and it was like, if DJ was a GM of a team, we probably have more cornerbacks than we actually need.
That's facts, dude. He loves his corners and he knows them. Right? Remember when we had him on, we kind of just went through the corners heavy. He is really excited about DJ Reed. He is super hyped about this. I'm super hyped about it. He seems hyped about it. He's part of Vayner Sports, Gary V's brother, AJ. That's his agent. I mean, I feel like he's in the family already, right? He was with San Francisco. He did have the 1 year in Seattle. He's going to fit the position perfect. But what's interesting is it already created a little bit of a controversy, right? And as DJ said a couple times, don't shoot the messenger. DJ the writer, not DJ the cornerback. He said that the Jets kind of see Bryce Hall and Eccles as the 2-3 rather than the 1-2, as we've been kind of putting Bryce Hall as like the solidified 2, if we're being honest.
No, we have been. Yeah, no, we've been because of how he played last season. We have been. Yeah.
And the Jets seem to not really think that. So I'm not sure if cornerback is really off the table either here. That's why maybe they want to plug in May, and so we could just be comfortable with Sauce Gardner, or however that plays out. But dude, what do you think about that? What do you think about Eccles, Michael Carter, and
Bryce
the rest
Hall?
of the cornerbacks? Yeah, and even Pinnock, he's not even mentioned. Like, what do you think about them kind of being pushed down here a
Jason
little bit?
Pinnock, let's be real, what he is. He's a safety, bro.
I mean, they don't even mention him though.
I know, and you know what? This is where we as fans we love to hype up our own guys a little too much and what we actually see on the field. And I'm actually I wish Peanut got more recognition for playing safety well last season, because I think he did do a good job, and hopefully is back. And maybe you can make that transition for him, because when we needed safeties, he stepped up and he played well. And maybe you can just have him for depth. As for Bryce Hall, Brandon Eccles, and Michael Carter II, makes sense. They say they see the more as threes than twos, but I think they're also, like, in my opinion, like undervaluing like what they did last season and how well they played. Sure, and we keep going back to this. They didn't get to face every top wide receiver because there were injuries last season. Like, they didn't have to face AJ Brown and Julio Jones, right? Like, they didn't have
We
to
did get
face.
lucky on a couple times.
They didn't have to face the Bengals' top wide receivers. They were out. You know, so maybe when they say, hey, they didn't get to play the whole gauntlet that they could have played, but they still showed out and they played against, second and third guys, and they played very well. And I think at that point you say they could be low end twos, but they're really high end threes because of the talent that they did face. So it makes sense. I still think they're going to be back and they're going to get their shot. Hopefully they pan out. But we always talked about, especially with Michael Carter II, we always talked about him as like the nickel guy, like and dime packages too. Like, he's not. We didn't expect him to be this outside corner. Like, we were always discussing him as, all right, we're when they're going wide out heavy, he's coming in. He's not that guy who's going to be opposite whoever the number one corner is.
Facts. That's facts, man. And it's just interesting to me that they got dropped a little bit. But yeah, I think the Jets are still going to be, in the running for a pretty decent cornerback in the draft. I think we might be done though with cornerbacks in free agency.
They're expensive, man. Cornerbacks in free agency is expensive.
I know, you're right, dude. You're right. The only thing I think they may be spending some money on for the rest of the free agency here is, like I said, a tight end on offense, maybe a cheap wide receiver, maybe a veteran running back, but I doubt that. But more so an interior D lineman. They need someone to cover that up. We're definitely going to draft one. But if we can get like a Akeem Hicks, man, if we can convince him to come over, I would be ecstatic. Obviously, he's lost a little bit of a step, but that would be amazing. I don't know if Calais Campbell got picked up yet. So those kind of players would be really fun for me. You know what I mean? Like older veterans that just come plug and we'll put a rookie in here. I don't think an edge is coming, man. I don't think an edge is coming in free agency. Do you?
No.
Chandler Jones is not happening.
Which is why
Miles Jack is not happening, even though he's more of a inside linebacker. That's none of these players are happening, man. Unfortunately.
Which is why it makes more sense when you say they're probably not going to do Hamilton and stuff like that, because if you already talked about earlier in this pod where we have people telling us, reporters and everyone saying the linebacker core isn't an issue. It's the secondary. So they went out and took care of the secondary. It's the offense. It's the defensive line. Well, we already have Carl Lawson. He's on his way back from the men's, right?
I can't wait.
It's going to be phenomenal. It's going to be phenomenal to have an actual pass rusher back on the team that we haven't gotten to see
yet. He was so
yet.
Good, bro. Oh my God. Remember how good he was during preseason?
But when you look at that, we're going to lose Fatou Kassi, right?
He's gone already.
Yeah, I know, but like officially is what I'm talking about. Like officially, like side. But who else? Didn't we lose? We're losing Nathan Shepard, right? Yeah, we lost Nathan Shepard too. So you hear that? All we have is Q Will,
Kyle Phillips.
Yeah.
Yeah, I know. I feel you.
So we need some help there. We need some help there, and we need another edge rusher. Like we just can't have one side. So it seems like the edge rusher.
I'm paying attention to Hunter. I'm paying attention to Hunter from the Vikings. They're trying to get under the salary cap, maybe. Probably maybe shed some money. I would take a Hunter. He would fit well. I wonder if Sheldon Richardson would maybe make a comeback here to get back on our D line for something cheap. Those are the kind of guys I'm taking a look at. Nothing. I don't really see anything else crazy happening here, but as always, we'll be tuned in. Definitely like stay on top of our Twitter.
Or so, John, when it comes to the Jets, John's been on top of it. Like if you're not following at Jay Meleka on Twitter, you're doing yourself a disservice, especially when it comes to John just talks about anything sports. It could be Yankees, Jets, Knicks, but man is like on top of. He's in Jet Spaces. He's writing articles out here. We didn't even talk about John's article that he dropped today. A casual 2,000 to 3,000 word piece that he just wrote in one day. Like, oh, here you go, world, and just sent it over. It's like, what the this is this? And you called Whitehead. You're like so glossing over how you called Whitehead, expecting him to sign before it actually happened. That was your preview for today, and you called it. But okay, you just don't want to acknowledge that.
Not a big deal. He is 33, and he's a strong safety. So I might do the tape. I might tape up the jersey and put Whitehead on the back of my 33.
For a second, I thought you were talking about his age is 33. I'm like, oh, look at this. John's going for some.
Oh no, he's oh my god. If he was 33, I'd be going nuts right now. Everybody's really young. That'd be terrible. Joe Douglas would know.
Man's an ageist out here for football players. How old is he? Over 30. Woo!
I know. You want to sign Manny Jones to max contract.
Absolutely. All the time. All day. He's going to be our number one. Don't worry.
Our number one wide receiver.
Yeah, exactly. Number one.
Bringing in Peyton Manning, too. I heard he's good.
We're also bringing back Eric Decker.
Yeah, oh, yeah, Chad Johnson. He can run. Give me a break.
Oh, man. But I think that's it, man. I think we covered Jets free agency. It's been pretty eventful for the first 2 days. As you know,
hyped, dude.
As John said, this is legal tampering period. So tomorrow will be the official start of free agency.
Dude, we talk about this every year since it happened, but Randy Gregory, Anthony Barred up.
Stop it. I'm not doing this. I'm not going down this road. I'm not going down this road. But that was hilarious. We're not talking about Anthony Barr on this episode because
he literally turned into an adjective.
Dude, how can he not? You legit talk to the front office saying, I'm going to sign with you. And then you're like, you got cold feet and you turned away. All right, that's fine.
But that's now called the Anthony Barr.
But exactly.
If you retire at halftime, that's Devontae Davis.
You created a verb for yourself, man. You are actually an action.
A verb, not an adjective. You're right.
He's a verb. What do you?
Sorry.
You're going somewhere. No, you're Anthony Barring out here. That's what we're. All right, that's what's happening.
Poor guy's a free agent, and he was trending for the wrong reason today.
Yeah, you said that too. You said Anthony Barr is trending. I'm like, why is he trending? And then it's like Jets fans are doing it.
So I feel so bad. Yo, poor guy's looking for a contract.
I love Jets fans because it's like Knicks fans, man. We're so salty. We're just such a salty.
But dude,
bunch.
Jets spaces with our beat reporters, with diehard fans, with former players and Super Bowl champions, ESPN analysts up until 1 a.m. I mean, Trey Wingo in there.
There's no fandom. You're not seeing the Giants out here doing that.
Bro, it was so sick, dude. I mean, like I'm so happy to honestly be a Jets fan. It's pretty cool. Even like if you're a Jaguars fan and you're spending all this money and it's fun, like it would suck to be a Jaguars fan, man.
Oh, that's a fact. That's a fact. Yeah, that's why being a Jets fan, man, we have some really good beat writers. They're very talented.
Yeah, a couple have been on the show.
Yeah.
But yeah, I want to know one thing, and has nothing to do with the Jets, but I want to be on record for this. It has to do with our third team, our etc. team, our Yankees. If you heard the press conference today.
Why? I just got to ask this.
Yeah, go ahead.
Comes back down to the vaccination thing again with this team.
Because there's two things that happened, right? We did the big trade where we got rid of Gary Sanchez, our catcher. We got.
How do you feel about that?
Urshela. Yeah, our third baseman. We got Donaldson, who beefs with Garrett Cole, and we got the shortstop from the Rangers,
Yep.
who was at the All-Star break putting up, MVP numbers and then completely fell off. But the poor guy comes in today. He says, "Wow, this organization is amazing. I've never had a physical like this before." I mean, what goes on in Texas Rangers, man? Even John Boy, they were mentioning it too. They had a former player on. He didn't even want to talk about the Texas Rangers and what happened to him there. So I don't know what goes on over there. I'm really excited to see him thrive here. Originally, I was like more miffed about Gio Urshela because I just like him.
He's a good one.
He used to stay at my
Honestly,
mom's hotel, got his
yeah.
autograph. That's my boy.
Mhm.
Now that he's gone, I can talk about that. On the other side, I love Gary Sanchez. Like I had the 24 for Robinson and Sanchez. He was getting 20 plus home runs every year. His defense sucked. He always gave me a heart
Thank you.
attack when I'm
You
in
said
Yankee
it.
Stadium.
That's the thing.
Yeah, man. He was all over the place. He was fun. You know what I mean? There's no other catcher
Fun.
like slinging home runs.
Yeah,
But
last season was probably his best season as a Yankee. Okay, I'm not good.
No, his first year.
You think first year? Because he had a pretty
Yeah.
good season. I mean, it was a turnaround from
Yeah.
having a utter collapse the year before.
Yeah, we definitely coddle him. He's definitely on the bigger side. We're gonna have fun making fun of him this year. He's on the Twins. We're gonna see him a bunch of times.
My issue with Sanchez was his defense, man. Like we were blessed. I don't think fans remember how blessed we were to have Jorge Posada. Like switch hit. You laugh, but he was a switch hitter. Could hit home run.
I love Posada, but
hit for average.
Funny.
One of the best defenders out there when it came to catching. Dude was top tier, and he was smart. You know, like being a catcher, you're the quarterback, not the pitcher. You're the quarterback as a catcher.
Which was interesting that our franchise pitcher, the best pitcher in baseball, apparently, or at least top,
never
5.
used him.
Yeah, dude, bringing up our bench in the playoffs, like you knew something was up.
But that's dude, what I'm saying, bro. Because
I have a tinfoil hat, bro. It's more than this. It's more than all that. It has nothing to do with all that, man. Nothing. You know what it has to do with? Go listen to Mr. Aaron Judge's press conference today, because his smile, first of all, he can't even hold back his smile. He is trolling the media today, trolling them so hard. They asked him about the Gary Sanchez and Gio Urshela trade, and he says, yeah, it was like a shot in the arm. He can't stop laughing talking about that. So I don't even know if I need a tinfoil hat for this, but
the double entendres that you can just get out of that damn thing.
100% Gary Sanchez was not vaccinated, and we knew that Gio Urshela, was in the protocol. Then I know he missed some time. He might have had like an adverse effect or something to the vaccine, but it's definitely Gary Sanchez, man. And he's making the joke like, yo, dude. And for some reason, a bunch of check marks on Twitter and a bunch of reporters and a bunch of real newspapers, all accusing Aaron Judge and going nuts and really woke mobbing him about not being vaxxed. And we have no idea if he's vaxxed or not. All because of this comment where he's clearly making fun of Gary Sanchez. Like, I can't even see a scenario where he's not being facetious here. You know what I'm saying? Oh, yeah, I was losing Gary Sanchez. Oh, yeah, it's like a shot in the arm. Like he's literally saying, like, yeah, dude, like he's not vaxxed. That's why we had to trade him. I think it's hilarious that we're all judging the judge right now, and I think a lot of people are gonna delete some tweets and delete some articles once it comes out that Aaron Judge is indeed vaxxed, but he did sound a little bit like Aaron Rodgers. So I think that's that's what did it for the media. So that they kind of went that way. Do you have any thoughts on this conspiracy theory of mine? He's immunized, exactly. Do you have any thoughts on this conspiracy of mine? Am I just being a conspiracy theorist? You can move on. I
honestly, my things with this, I just let it sit. I wait for more information to come out. I'm not gonna give a. This is such a hot topic issue with athletes being vaccinated, and especially in New York because you have the New York City mandate. I mean, we have people going off on Kyrie Irving and literally going through hula hoops, explaining why he could be in the stands and why he can't be in the locker room. At the end of the day, hold on, I just want to say this. At the end of the day, I understand the vaccination. It's to protect everybody out there. We get that 100%. But if we're going to talk about a strict mandate, like what we're seeing right here, it legitimately makes no sense. The fact that Kyrie Irving, who can be in the arena sitting with the fans, but can't go into the locker room, can't sit on the bench, but be separated. I get that you could say, because I saw some things out there saying like, well, he's not with the arena and that's what the mandate says, X, Y, and Z. Bullshit. He is still an employee of the Brooklyn Nets. Once he sets foot in that arena, he is still an employee. He still has to follow all the rules and regulations. It's either all in or you're all out. You can't say we're going to modify it so now he can go to practice. So he can be at practice, but now he can't be in the locker room. How the hell does that make any sense? If the idea is to protect him, the fans, and the players, the fact that he can go to practice, the fact that he can be in the arena, but he can't sit courtside with his teammates on the bench and be in the locker room makes no sense whatsoever.
Has nothing to do with safety.
At that point, it doesn't.
I know. I'm sorry to the Knicks, Jets, etc. fans, but I mean, it's insane. I agree with Kevin Durant. I agree with the Nets. If Kyrie Irving was a New York Knick, everybody would be up in arms. That's why I look at it, man. The Yankees and the Mets. You see, we're up in arms. Like everybody's going nuts because this is the Yankees and the Mets.
And the thing is, like, I don't really care about it. I would not even pay attention to it, but it keeps getting brought up in the media and people keep trying to justify it. And like you and I were both vaccinated. There's no hiding that. But the fact of the matter is, I will call a bullshit law that I see it. And if you're either going to say Kyrie can't be around the team whatsoever, which fine, or you could say we're going to make it so that Kyrie's around the team.
Yeah. And other vax people can't. Other people from other cities can't come in and
that
play.
one I do get because and here's why. It's based on the state, right? The state can't have the long arm to extend into someone else's state. Yeah, but even though you're here, you have control. You have control over your residence.
There's no logic. There's no safety. I know, but if it's for safety,
I get it. I get it from
sense.
The state, right? The state controls education, health, all those mandates. Everyone who lives in here, right? Like you can't tell someone outside of state if you're coming in for like a day for education saying you have to follow all our laws. That doesn't work like that. If you're here,
but you have to follow
doing the full process. Limit. You do it.
You have to follow our speed limit if you're here for the day. And this could be a mandate just like that. I mean, don't let's not get to strict scrutiny here because there's no safety, bro. There's no safety here. There's no whatever the I can't believe the first one, the first prong, the easy one. It's not that because there's no safety here. It doesn't make actual sense. But I can't believe we just got into a constitutional law even tangent for even 2 seconds. I hate all of this going on. It's really bothering me. But I'm going to point out one thing. I read the mandate today for the first time, actually. It says something about being a New York City resident.
Mm-hmm.
So what if he is a Florida established resident? I mean, Gio Urshela was staying at my mom's hotel.
But the thing is that he's an entertainer. So they modify so that he's an entertainer in the state. So he's employed in the state. So he has to.
Has to what?
For vaccination.
No, but it's an outside resident. So, but like if you're on the New Orleans Pelicans, you're an entertainer. You're outside the city. There's no difference between what like Aaron Judge like lives in Florida. Like he's there for over 6 months in the year.
Yeah, but he's working. But when his full-time job is being a Yankee, which is in New York. If you are an entertainer in the state,
I don't know.
That's
I
wonder
if they're gonna do something weird, man. I don't know what they're gonna do. But I know we went off on a long tangent here. If you're here for you're probably still not here. But I have a really embarrassing take. I'm gonna leave you on this one. I'm so jealous of the New York Mets. They have Buck Showalter and DeGrom and Max Scherzer.
Buck Showalter's a good manager.
Bro, I'm so jealous of those three people. I don't care about anything
I can't believe the Orioles let him go.
Dude, we could have had him. He was on Yes Network. We chose Aaron Boone. Forget the Orioles. It was literally on Yes Network.
Oh, it was a feel-good story. Aaron Boone, all that nonsense.
Bro, what do you mean feel-good story? It's over. There's no feel-good. He sucks. We can't make the play. Can't do anything.
I'm saying when it happened, bro. When it happened.
I'm saying this year. We re-signed him. I'm saying this year we re-signed him and he signed with the Mets.
Yes, yeah. I see what you're saying. I thought you were talking about when we first signed him.
No. I'm talking about now. Like, that's my embarrassing take. If you're a Mets fan, yeah, you can clip that. But Showalter, Scherzer, and DeGrom is something. However, Cole, Sevy, and Devi Garcia, I like it. I'm just saying. I'm jealous of the Mets. But on that note, let's get out of here.
Yep. All right, everyone. Thank you for tuning in for another Jets episode of the Knicks, Jets, Etc. podcast. You know what to do. Say at the top. If you haven't already, please make sure to subscribe to this podcast. We're on all audio listening platforms: Apple, Spotify, Google Play, Amazon, Alexa, Stitcher, you name it. We are there. Top of that, if you listen to us on Spotify or Apple, please make sure to give us a 5-star rating. And if you listen to us on Apple Podcasts, please make sure to leave a comment. We greatly appreciate it. We're also on YouTube now, so make sure to go find the page, look for Knicks, Jets, etc. Subscribe, hit that notification bell. That way you know when a new episode drops, and hit the like button and leave a comment. We'll always respond. While you're over there, we got Winning Picks Weekly. As John talked about earlier, March Madness is here. Him, video producer Greg, and our guy Chip Murphy go through it, and they go through it. So make sure to tune in.
We do, man.
And get your takes in, and make sure to place your bets, and make sure to always bet responsibly. Last and certainly not least, please make sure to follow us on all social media platforms. We're on Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, TikTok, you name it. We are there. Thank you, everyone, for tuning in for another Jets episode of the Knicks, Jets, Etc. podcast. We out.
Let's go, Jets. And Joe Douglas, we trust, baby. Let's go.